Hey, you guys, welcome to another video. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, we're going to get right to the point, the end of a chapter. And that is what we reached here. No, we're not closing down this, our YouTube platform, at least not now, we're not, but there is another platform, however, that we are going to close down. And that is our platform that we started some years ago, and that is mybondtube.com. Yes, we are going to go ahead and to discontinue that platform. That was something that we started back. It was before the COVID stuff. So we're at 2024 now. So I want to say 2021, 2020, 2021. I can't even remember now. I would have to go back and look at when we actually started it, but it's been around for some time now. And for those of you who are brand new to the platform and maybe you don't even know what I'm even talking about, when the COVID stuff started breaking out, the lockdowns and all of that, there was a lot of information that we saw that was being left out of the discussion, the general discussion when it comes to, what were all these other scientists and doctors and all of that, what are they saying? What is their input? What is their take on these topics, on this particular topic? And when we would try to bring that information on this platform, what we found out very quickly was YouTube didn't like that. They said, we are only getting, if you are not repeating what the CDC is saying, then we have to take you down, and, we're going to strike your channel. We're going to take videos off, all that stuff. Right. People were getting demonetized. It was a whole bunch of stuff that was going on. It's quite ugly. So instead of us sitting here and complaining about it and saying that, oh, woe is us and this, that, or whatever, we decided to take matters in our own hands and use it as a wake-up call and said, hey, listen, this will be a perfect time for us to create our own platform where we can pretty much say what we want to say and put out all the information that is out there that's still coming in, and have it where we can just give it out to the people so that individuals will be able to, disseminate that amongst friends and family, all that information. Right. So that's what we did. So we created the platform, and it was very helpful to many people. We've heard from many people who were able to use it to get the information that they needed. We had documentaries. We had, it went beyond just simply the COVID stuff, but it went to other things too, other areas. And then we also had entertainment on there. We had a whole bunch of stuff on there, and for now we still do. And so, yeah, so that's it. So, I want to go back and tell you kind of how it started. I think I had mentioned somewhere, it may have been on a video I did. This is going back a few years ago. That I was saying, hey, listen, I'm actively trying to get some kind of page set up where we can have our own, video streaming service, right? And a gentleman by the name of Brother Wayne, and you know who you are, he heard it, and he didn't just say, oh, that would be nice. He actually put some seed money into that, and started it off. And I was like, okay, well, it's a go now. And I just probably within days, I was able to get a whole site set up and everything. And it started from there. So I've told Brother Wayne many times, thank you, for seeing that. Because and I remember the last time I talked to him, I said that, it's because of you, we have this site, and how it's helped so many people, and that you, the one that it's really the blessing here in this, and thank you, and so it was Brother Wayne. He was the one that kind of kick started it all. But then we had other people that have come in over time, not many, but we've had quite a few people. I think those first months, what was happening was, at that time, people would contribute to this platform. How, if there's a YouTube channel or something that you appreciate or whatever, and people do the PayPal thing or whatever. And so I would just take all that money, and then I would just pay for the service myself, which was $200 a month. and I was doing that for a number of months, where I wasn't getting anything. Literally, I wasn't, and there were times where I've spent my own personal money outside of whatever I'm getting to YouTube to help carry the thing along. And then eventually what ended up happening was, and I did the same thing with Threema too, where there was months where I was paying for it out of my own pocket. But no complaining at all. I just saw the need for it and just did it, and it wasn't easy, but we did it. And so, but then later on, people, started stepping up. A few of you started stepping up and contributing to to BondTube to keep it up and running and all of that. And for each one of you, we really do appreciate, you stepping up and to keep that going, because if it wasn't for you, there's information, especially during that time, that a lot of people would not have had access to. And so so you are the ones that have really been a blessing here and keeping that going for so many people. And we've gotten a ton of emails from people. I'm not just saying that, I'm really do mean that, from many people who have said that how much it's helped them and all of that. We've even used it as a portal, if you will, entry portal to the free library that we established, where we just had tons of books on there that all you had to do is watch the video, which was like a few minutes, and then you have instant access to this library where you can just download whatever books you want. And we weren't selling them at all. You just can go to the page and there you go. I had a whole page set up just for BondTube. We had a side library and all of that. And because it's one thing to talk about, as you know, on this platform, we love talking about history, but we also want to make sure that people are getting these lessons, or whatever you want to call it, in its fullest context. So if I'm referencing a book or whatever, I can say, hey, listen, I can only talk about this book for a few minutes, and I can only show you certain parts. But if you want access to the whole book, boom, go over there. You get access to the whole book, so you can check behind me and make sure that I'm not taking anything out of context. And so that was attached to that as well. We also had movie night. We would do movie night where typically on Fridays or on the weekend, we would stream live movies. We would do that as well for the people. And it was just a time where if you wanted to hang out and watch a movie with a bunch of other people, and you can be in the chat and we can be, laughing or asking questions and whatever you do when you're sitting down and watching a movie with other people, we had that going on. Let's see, what else did we do? We also, there was a need for numbers of people, parents who were expressing that, hey, wish we had something for the children, where, there's just, for, cartoons or whatever, children's shows, and so I started it, but we had a dear couple that stepped up who, had a lot more access to different children's shows than I did. And so they actually set up a server where they were just streaming a bunch of children's shows, for hours, for the children, and so we did that. I'm trying to think what else we've done. We've done so many things just on that my BondTube page. I've already talked about how instrumental it was for us to get out the information regarding the whole COVID stuff. We would also do, at that time when we were doing like Samba teachings, just on Saturdays, we would, explore the Bible and all of that. We would do our lives on there as well. And so we have a ton of a lot of the series that we've done in the past. We've got them all on there. I don't have them all on YouTube, but I have them on there. And so a lot of those series we were able to put on there. So if you missed the series, or if I made reference to it here on YouTube, you can go right over there and you can get full access to it and all of that. So I can continue down the list because I'm sure there's like a ton of other things we've done on that. And so I first want to really say thank you to everyone everyone that took part. I don't care if you gave $2. I don't care if you gave $20. I don't care if you gave $200. Whatever you gave, and I can't, because some people did it one time, some people did it a couple of times, some people did it monthly, whatever. It was a small group of people, but each one of you, each thing that you contributed, we greatly, greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Okay. I just want to make that super, super clear. Okay. Because if I go down the list, me, I'm going to miss somebody's name and somebody going to get mad, but I'm just blanketly saying this for those of you you know who you are, who helped to keep that thing going. We really, really appreciate. We're saying that on behalf of, I'm saying that on behalf of myself and Nicole, but also on the behalf of so many people who would not have gotten that information if it wasn't for good people like you. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. My Bontu t-shirt.
She got a
So many people would not have gotten that information. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have learned. I mean, and quite honestly, and this isn't a tooting of any horn or anything. Mm-hmm. We're just really so thankful to have been able to share, and we're going to continue to share that information. Mm-hmm. But in some cases, you may have even helped to save someone's life. Real. And mm-hmm. I really want to, let me close this door. I really want to say that we've heard from so many people where, I talked to my aunt and I showed her a video and she decided she wasn't going to take it. Or, I was planning on taking it after I was, in church on Sunday and I listened to my pastor and he was encouraging people to take it. Mm-hmm. But then I saw your video and then I watched another one and then I watched another one. And I said, you know what, let me just wait. Mm-hmm. And now I'm so glad I did. So what I'm saying is that those videos that we did, and many others, they weren't just COVID related, but those videos that we did over on my Bontu, those videos were incredibly impactful for thousands of people. And in many cases, and we have the emails to prove it, in many cases, those of you that contributed and everything, and in any way, you may have really, really helped to save someone's life. Mm-hmm. And at the very least, save them from injury, from taking that thing. So thank you. Thank you is just, I don't even know how else to say it, but thank you, Bontu. Mm-hmm. Thank y'all supporters.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And so as you heard from her, as well, man, it's been quite instrumental and helpful. And so what has happened probably in the last, I don't know, few months. Well, I would say entering into 2024, it's been a little bit more of a challenge to raise up funds to get that, to keep that going. And that could be for a myriad of reasons. But it's nonetheless, that's what it's been. And so I've kind of like had to reassess, look at some things and said, I do realize there's a couple of things I want to mention along those lines, but I would say the main thing is this, the thing that anything else I say after this, I think this is the overall thing. And that's hence the title of this video. I believe that there are chapters. Life is full of chapters. Chapters have a beginning and they have an end, but it doesn't mean that the book ends. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe that we have reached a point right now where this chapter is over. I'm talking about in terms of my Bontu. So so we're going to allow this chapter to close. And then we're going to move on to some other things, which I'll talk about in a little bit, that we're doing in lieu of my Bontu. But before I get to those things, I do want to mention just some things I have observed and things that I've learned, just during this chapter. We started off telling you all of these great things that absolutely, like I said, that trumps everything. But there are also some other things that I would put in the category of need improvement. And this is what you do. If you're wanting an honest assessment of anything, you have to be honest. You know what I mean? In order to assess it. And so, one of the things for me personally, I've always said, I'm never going to be that guy. I never want to be that guy where I'm always, please, y'all got to keep the money going. You got to keep the money. You see my PayPal tag, and I got my PayPal tag constantly on the screen and all of that. That's not me. I never like doing that. Anytime when I do put it on the screen, it's just like, ugh, I don't like doing that. I think it's probably because of the association of church, religion, and that it's just been one of those areas that I'm just kind of like, ugh, it's just icky for me, So that's why I don't put that up there. You know what I mean? I just leave it at that. You know what I mean? Other people feel very comfortable with that. I personally don't. And this is part of my personal process of coming out of religion. You understand what I'm saying? Other people, they may not have the religious baggage that I have. You know what I'm saying? But in my case, in my personal journey, I do. And that was one of the things that I saw in religion where it was abused tremendously. You know what I mean? And so I've always kind of shied away from that and not really, I'll put it up there sometimes and say, hey, if you want to contribute, that's it, whatever, fine. So that's been my thing. The other thing I would say is that I said, people invest in what they value. I'll say that again. People invest in what they value. In other words, if you see something truly of value, then you will invest in it. You know what I mean? And nobody has to twist your arm or beg you or even remind you for that banner. Oh, you got to make sure. You ain't got to do that. If you truly value something, you will invest in it. We do this all the time. We exercise this every day. Things that we value, we invest in them all the time. And like I said, a lot of times we can do it without prompting. Now, I'm not a gamer, but every now and then I do have an interest sometimes in seeing some of the latest games that are out, because they have like these little, like, it ain't just a shoot 'em up. I'm from the Pac-Man Donkey Kong world. Okay. So it's very one dimensional, in the games I'm used to growing up. Right. I'm old enough to remember board games and Pong. Okay. Okay. So there was no storyline with Pong. Okay. It was just very straightforward, very linear. You know what I mean? Then you got Pac-Man, then you had Donkey Kong, then you got Q-Bird, then you got all the, Defender, all those games, right? It's just very linear, one-dimensional kind of situation. But the games they have now, it's like watching a show. And so a lot of times I will look at, okay, let me just see all the cutscenes of this game. And I like it. You know what I mean? I don't do it all the time, but sometimes I do check them out. But anyway, but you have people now, we live in an era right now where people would just sit on TikTok or sit on YouTube or whatever your platform or choice is. And they will spend hours on end just playing video games. And they sit up there, they got their big old bowl of chips and soda, and they got all that stuff. And they just, playing games. And I'm watching it, and I just see the money just, thank you thank you, expert 1212 for that money. I really appreciate that. Thank you such and such for that. And I'm sitting up there like, what? Bro, what are they doing? They just sitting up here playing video games. That's all they doing. And they be making money. You hear what I'm saying? And it really is no prompting at all. What you value, you invest in. You understand what I'm saying? And so this is something that goes on literally all the time. The gamer example is just one example. I can point to many other examples. I have also have witnessed many black individuals who have also, we ain't certainly the first, never claimed to be at all, but I've come across many black individuals who have started their own social media type platforms. So they, so it'll be like a video platform. It could be something like a knockoff of Facebook or Twitter, or there's one like an Instagram, and some I have checked out, others I have not. And usually they're started by people who have some background in IT, and so they kind of run everything and do all this stuff. And it starts off with a bang. It always starts off with a bang. And the reason why they started create these platforms in the first place is because they say, hey, listen, how about we as a people come together and start building our own stuff? You know what I mean? And instead of just leaning on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, let's build our own stuff. I have the understanding on how to do it. You guys had the resources to keep it going. Let's go. Let's do it. So it always starts off with a big bang, but then give it some time. It never fails. I literally see this like all the time. People get on it. Within weeks, people are already complaining that it doesn't have this feature, it doesn't have that feature, and it runs slower than YouTube, it runs slower than Facebook, and I'm not able to do this. And then next thing you know, people are just going. And then what typically happens is the people who created these platforms, they end up just saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to go back and go back into regular IT and just keep making my money and just enjoy life that way or whatever. And so it's always a bitter split. In most cases, I've noticed that. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I would say, I think a lot of times we may talk about coming together and building infrastructure on things, but I don't know if all around, if the commitment is there. And when I say that, I'm talking about infrastructure that's going to move us forward. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, there's many industries. I mean, there are many segments in the world that we spend a whole bunch of money in, but it doesn't really benefit us at all. Like, for example, in music, the other day I saw this article with, I don't know what his real name is, 50 Cent. He was in DC, basically petitioning politicians that black people would get more of a share of the alcohol and music industry, where black people are, quote unquote, allowed to be to have a greater control in these arenas. And I just shook my head like, man, it's something. But I can't get 100% mad on it, because we do spend a lot of money in those areas. You know what I'm saying? And so those industries have been doing quite well, but it's when it comes to let's build this or let's do that. I can go through a number of things, even with some of these communities. I'm talking about real communities. We're going to buy land. We're going to do this. It starts off with a bang. It starts off very well. Then give it a few years or whatever. Next thing you know, it's just, it almost always happens. Almost always. There's some few exceptions out there. So there's some bigger challenges, I think, that we have as a people that we could that need to be addressed for real. And we try to address some of those things here. Going back to what I was talking about, the cartoons, we started off we tried to do like a cartoon network, our own cartoon network of cartoons that we have kind of pre-approved, meaning that they wouldn't have, these are cartoons that didn't have any kind of like obvious agendas in them. They were just cartoons. They were for kids. They were fun, right? And so we actually had parents that looked at these cartoons to make sure that, so we screened them and everything, and made them available, and this was because we've had people saying, hey, let's do this, let's have this, let's offer that. And we say, okay, cool. We would do that and stream like half a day and only have like one person on there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so it's like I said, again, there are many things that I can point to on that, but I always come back to what you value, you invest in. Another thing I'll bring up too, before someone asks that or put that in the chat or in the comment section, is there were people who said at a certain point, they were like, well, I can't. I was trying to sign into my account, or I went to upload some videos, and I'm kind of locked out. Well, one of the main reasons why we had to do that is because of the fact that we had to lock some features out because we've had people coming in, uploading videos, saying some crazy stuff, and it was just some off things. So you need it, like here on YouTube, how they have a whole team of people that will screen videos to make sure, okay, here are our standards, here are our rules. As long as you abide by those things, you're good to go, right? And so, of course, when you're dealing with an open space where anybody can walk in, you're going to have somebody's plural there to monitor all of this stuff to see, okay, is this legit? If it's not, and it's not about, do you agree? You got to agree with everything I'm saying or whatever. No. It's not that at all. We just had like a basic list of just be truthful, be accurate in whatever you're putting up. You can't just be making things up. You can't be lying on people. You can't use this space as like some a clapback video to somebody else. We don't want to have any of that. It's just upload what you want to upload, but just no nudity, none of that stuff, right? We just had just basic, very basic. And we saw the violations on that. And because we don't have a team, to monitor all of that, unfortunately, the only thing we could do is say, you know what, we just got to lock that feature out. So if you wanted to upload videos or something like that, there were a few exceptions where we would say, okay, we will unlock it for this individual, that individual. But we really had to gatekeep on there because, without having a full team, it's just too difficult, to make sure that, somebody can get on there and start uploading pornography or something, and then next thing you know, they're submitting it to whatever, and then the whole site gets shut down. So it takes a lot of work. It's not just putting up a site and then you just walk away. It takes a lot of work to monitor, to make sure that this is a quality product that you're putting out there that's not going to cross any lines, while at the same time people can use it to learn, to grow, to have fun, that kind of thing, right? So it takes a lot of work to do that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, so that's why unfortunately we had to do that. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So I just would say overall, I don't think when we say black people, however you want to define that these days, I just don't think when it comes to building infrastructure, and I'm talking infrastructure that is meant to propel us in a positive way into the future or whatever. I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know. And I don't say that off of my own personal experience. I say that off of many others that I've seen, many other projects that I've just kind of mentioned, just briefly here. I've seen this play out over and over again. But that's not the demise, if you will, of in this particular case. In this particular case, I just feel like it's served its purpose. I think we've met our goal as far as it being a resource, during the COVID situation, and it did. So for that, I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I'm not frustrated. I'm literally none of that. I'm not, and but I'm just happy and glad that we set a goal, we was able to accomplish it, and then everything else past then, that was just gravy, quite honestly. But I was also able to look at it from a distance and see, well, not so much a distance, I'm right in the middle of it, and see some of the things that, that I think they're just ongoing, and when it comes to our people with some of these things. And so I'm never going to be, it would be easy for me to get up here right now and say, okay, y'all, well, in order to keep this thing going, if y'all can just get together and if we can just raise up, I'm not doing it. I'm not that guy to do that. I'm kind of disconnected. I'm not that person. I used to put posts up there, You remember in the past where I would tell people, hey, listen, they shut the site down. If you want to keep it up, you need to do, I used to do that, but I've kind of made up my mind. I'm not doing it. I've done videos in the past where I've explained, I said, listen, this is how much it costs, which was $200 a month. This is how much it costs to keep the site up. As long as we hit that mark, we're good, and then we'll just keep putting into that. As long as it's up, we're good, and that's it. But I'm not in the business of begging people and knocking people across the head or whatever, or begging, because like I said, again, you got to understand where I'm coming from on that. Some people, they don't have a problem with that. Personally, that's my thing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with what we do here on YouTube. There's a lot of work that goes in to the things that we do here on YouTube. It's not just simply jumping on the camera and just running my mouth. There's a lot of hours of research that are put into the things we do. Internet, the internet service that I use, some of the equipment that I use, all of these things have a cost. And but I never and it's just something that, hey, I've decided, hey, if this is something I want to do, then I'm going to do it. Money will not be my motivating factor. Let it be something I'm doing simply out of the love of doing it. And when the resources are there to keep it going, I'll just keep it going. When they're not there, then so be it. And so that's kind of how this has been operating. What this BondTube thing has also shown me too is not always the crowd. It's always the smaller amount of people who are there that keep things going. You know what I'm saying? And on this platform, when it comes to on this platform here on YouTube, I can tell you right now, I'll be totally honest. Every now and then we may get a small contribution here and there or whatever. And but other than that, we pretty much don't get anything. And now, like I said, again, you contrast that to the gamer example that I gave earlier. What you value, you invest in. And I just pretty much leave it at that. And the commentary, I think, on that is we eventually lose out people who have very good intentions. But they eventually get burnt out because they're not getting that kind of support. And what ends up happening is those people end up rolling up their tent or whatever and just going elsewhere. That's what I have seen a whole lot of. I've seen that a great deal. And so, if anything, I just hope that for some people, maybe you will take that to heart when it comes to not necessarily this platform here, but anybody out here that you see that is really helping you, has helped you in the past. Keep those things in mind, because there's a cost to everything, and especially as a people, we have to learn. How I talk about this epidemic of self-hate. We have to learn how to demonstrate love, to those things that we say is of a value to us. And it's not always money. It can be a number of things. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the greater point. When people send even, little notes of encouragement and things like that, those things are very meaningful to me, when I do get them. Because as you can imagine, we get a lot of the other stuff too, but those things are very meaningful when someone just says, hey, listen, I was just thinking about, thank you so much for this, that, or whatever. It's not so much just we just live for pats on the back and all of that, but it's about showing, appreciation, or showing that, hey, listen, I value this or that. And again, I'm not talking here. Okay. This is just a life lesson, period. Because I've seen so many people, not just in this content creation arena, but I've seen also in the world of entrepreneurship, a lot of Black folks that get burned out. Man, I could tell you many stories of that have gone out and built businesses or try to build a business or a service and say, hey, listen, it's going to be a service of my people. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to do this and that or whatever. And they get burnt out because people, they will say we're glad, but then it doesn't translate a lot of times, So, there's some things there, like I said, again, these are just, if anything, I've learned things out of this. I always say when one chapter closes, there's many others to open up, and I'm glad of that. And so we're not stopping. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. One of the things we got going on right now is on the Threema platform. And basically, we're still staying on talking about not just COVID, but now you got this other thing that they're talking about coming up real soon. I was just reading something I think it was yesterday. I mean, these people are moving hard. You may not see it visibly yet, but trust me, they are cranking this thing up big time. So what we did was we created a platform, or rather created a group on Threema. And again, if you're not familiar with that, please just go back to the video where I talk about communication. That's in the title. It says something about communication. I don't have it up right now, but just go back. And I explain within like a few minutes how to get connected to it. It's very super simple. And you can connect to it and get the information there. And we've been uploading videos, articles, all kinds of stuff. So we stayed on that. We haven't like shut that down, right? That's still going on, and we're going to continue to do that as long as we can. But as far as BondTube is concerned, so all the series that we've done, the other videos, documentaries, movies, all of that stuff, that will be going away. Right now, it's the 14th. The guy say he's going to quote unquote try to keep it up for a couple of days, but I don't know. He probably cut it off. He's talking about, he went from I'll keep it up 6 days, 7 days, and he went to 6 days. Now he's saying, well, I don't know if I'll keep it up, so I don't know. So what I would suggest, if there's any of the content on there that you find of value, go to those videos. And many of the videos, not all, but many of them, you'll be able to just simply go on the video. When you press play, or right before you press play, you can just actually do a right click on it. And in many of them, like I said, not all, you should be able to do a right click and it'll give you the option of downloading those videos. And that's one of the features that we had enabled on that page. We wanted our videos to be easily shareable. So if you want to go, if there's videos on there that you want to download and save to your own personal hard drive or whatever, I would advise you to go ahead and do that. Like I said, again, I'm doing this right now. It's the 14th of June. I'm advising you go ahead and do that ASAP, because in a minute you won't be able to do that at all. Most of those videos I actually have on separate drives, videos that we've done. There's some I'm gonna try to, I don't know if I have it, but I'm gonna try to download those just for my own, stuff. And but it is what it is. So you'll be able to, so if you're going to do something, go ahead and do it now. But anyway, I just wanted to take this time to really share everything on that. And just know, again, this is not something I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm frustrated at y'all black folks and all that. No, I'm not. This is the things that we talk about, and we're trying to help us out so that we can become better. But it doesn't stop motion. In other words, things will continue to be until we start making adjustments and changes. And that's what we're committed to do on this platform. And we're going to continue to do that. So that's it. That's all I have for you. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen, to hear me out, so that you can get, know what's up. So if you go to this page one day and it's not up, you'll know exactly why. Okay. And, but in the meantime, we're not stopping. We're still going to be here. We also have, what's the pages we have? We're on, BitChute. We're on, Rumble. We're on, what's the thing? It's called Odyssey. We're on Odyssey. We're on that one as well. So we'll probably be you'll see us uploading content on some of those other platforms there too. if well, we doing it automatically on Odyssey and BitChute. I think it's set up automatically that anything we upload here on YouTube, it will automatically go over there. So you'll still be able to, so we automatically got it set up as backup. But if we wanted to go live, you will probably see us on Rumble or BitChute. But the other problem too, as I'm closing this out, that we run into is that so many people are trained on YouTube or Twitter or TikTok, any of these other ones that aren't backed by the man, so to speak. Unfortunately, our people won't really check it out. They won't. They just too, we're just too reliant on this system. And so that's another challenge, in getting our people specifically, because I can name a number of white content creators that do extremely well on these side platforms. They do extremely well. It's like people like, oh, okay, we're not going to be on YouTube. Okay, here. But for our people, if I was to say we're going to be on this, we will not. We won't check it out. We won't check it out. So, so hopefully that will change. We'll see what happens. But again, thank you so much. And but those are the platforms you can check us out on. So, but yeah, that's it. So thanks again. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.